Now, we gently pass through the portico and step into the inner courtyard of the villa. Imagine yourself standing there, gazing up at the night sky. You won't see the harsh light pollution of the city, only the deep, vast indigo velvet, studded with countless twinkling stars. These stars are the most ancient guests of the Roman night, silently observing everything. Let us return our attention to the host of the villa, Lucius. He stands by the archway leading to the dining room, savoring a moment of quiet anticipation. In his deep-set eyes, reflected by the flickering lamp glow, there is no merchant's cunning, but a gentle satisfaction and calmness refined by life experience. Lucius's purpose in hosting this feast extends far beyond simple socialization. He knows well that for the residents of the Eternal City, the pressures of the day are a heavy yoke. The debates in the forum, the clamor of the markets, the endless debts, and political maneuvers leave a mark of weariness on every soul. Therefore, his dinner, this convivium, must become a temporary dream, a place where one can completely shed their status, forget obligations, and focus only on breathing and relaxation. He desires his guests to arrive here and feel an ancient, gentle buoyancy, as if being softly lifted by a deep ocean tide. He muses that the success of tonight will not be measured by the extravagance of the food, but by the profound sense of peace and relief his guests carry when they depart. His wife, Flavia, is the perfect guardian of this tranquility. Unlike many Roman noblewomen who crave ostentatious jewelry and attire, her elegance lies in the silent mastery of detail. At this moment, she is inspecting the arrangement of the 3 dining couches, lectus, in the triclinium dining room. She insists on the softest linen from the banks of the Nile in Egypt. The fabrics have been washed and sun-dried, absorbing the sun's warmth and the night's coolness. Every goose-down cushion on the couches has been gently patted, ensuring they are plump and even designed to cradle the guest's body in the kindest possible way. Imagine the fabric touching your skin, initially a cool sensation, followed by the warmth of your own body temperature. The ultimate comfort for a weary frame. Flavia pays particular attention to scent. She avoids heavy floral perfumes, which might induce dizziness or excitement. Instead, she adds only minute drops of frankincense and sandalwood oil to the lamps. The aroma is not overpowering but subtle, like a distant echo, guiding the mind into a slow, contemplative state. The flames in the oil lamps have been meticulously adjusted to avoid any harsh glare, leaving only a warm amber hue that soft gilds the marble floor and walls. You look at the light and shadow, which slowly stretch and contract on the walls, as if the passage of time itself has slowed down. Your eyelids feel heavy, your vision begins to blur, for you know there is nothing here that requires you to strain to see. In the corner of the kitchen, Lucius hears the very faint sound of grinding slaves preparing spices and herbs. He allows such working sounds in the kitchen, but they must be kept to an absolute minimum, without any sense of hurry or chaos. This rhythmic, low sound actually provides a hypnotic, stabilizing background hum for the entire villa. He imagines the guests reclining on their couches, listening closely to this steady rhythm, the soft rasp of the millstone turning, the slight clink of earthenware pots meeting, and the rustle of the breeze passing through the rosemary leaves from the garden. All these elements are part of his careful design, meant to activate the body's deep relaxation mechanism. The moment the guests enter the dining room, Lucius gently closes his eyes, focusing on his own breath. He pictures the faces of his guests tonight. As the dinner progresses, their facial lines will soften, and the furrows between their brows will smooth out. He hopes their conversation will transition from the trivialities of the day to serene contemplation of the stars, philosophy, and art. He knows that when the feast concludes, many will simply drift off to a deep sleep right on the couches, their minds and bodies completely released. This is his greatest wish, that tonight, each of them will experience a deep slumber, free of nightmares and worries, completely embraced by the night's gentleness. He takes a deep breath. Let us move quietly, and with this quiet like a feather drifting on air, he is ready to the heart of the first guest. The kitchen, though this space is filled with activity, it is enveloped in an astonishing stillness. The lighting here is more practical than in the dining room, yet still a warm amber hue, illuminating the earthenware pots, bronze vessels, and neatly stacked mortars. everything glinting with a soft polish. This is the source of the feast. Yet you hear no loud shouting or frantic orders. Only a rhythmic, almost hypnotic soundscape proves that everything is proceeding with perfect order. This is Lucius's highest demand for tranquility. Listen closely to how soothing these sounds are. In one corner of the large stone counter, a slave is patiently grinding spices using a bronze mortar and pestle. The sound is low and steady, a gentle thud, thud, that resembles a distant heartbeat, or the regular dipping of an oar into calm water. These spices are the essence of tonight's roast, a blend of coriander, cumin, and black pepper from the distant east. Their aroma does not rush into your senses, but rises slowly, gently, carrying the dry earthiness and the warmth of the sun. This scent brushes past your nose, prompting your breath to become deeper and slower. Turn your attention to the massive terracotta oven, which radiates a consistent, soft heat like a giant, warm stone. Slaves have just finished removing the last flat loaves of bread from the heat. The air is thus filled with the wholesome scent of wheat and yeast. The smell of the ancient land, a profoundly comforting aroma. You can hear the minute sound as they carefully place the bread onto wicker trays, a soft shesh, like a mother's lullaby whispering a child to sleep. The bread's crust is crisp, but the inside is soft and moist. You can almost imagine the comforting texture of it melting in your mouth. At the other end of the kitchen, the sound of running water is the sole exception, maintaining a light but never jarring rhythm. Slaves are washing fresh produce, immersing them into cool water and gently lifting them out. The water flows with a soft splash, splash. Yet the sound is absorbed by the stone basin, making it sound like a mountain stream, gently running through the night. They are preparing the evening's essential ingredients: olives from the estate, crisp lettuce leaves, and brightly colored beetroot. Each wash, each sorting movement, is like a quiet ritual, full of respect for the food and the night. All movements are as silent as shadows. The slaves understand that any sudden, quick movement would disrupt the gathering sense of relaxation in the dining room. Their footsteps are light, their focus is intense. They wrap the earthenware pots in thick linen cloths to avoid the clanging sound of hard surfaces meeting. On their arms and shoulders, you might see signs of fatigue, but their faces carry a calm, almost meditative focus. Their labor is weaving an invisible, comforting net for the guests. Now, you only need to feel the sense of peace derived from this industry. Someone is creating beauty and comfort for you, and you are only required to fully accept it. You have smelled the frankincense and lilac. You have heard the rhythmic grinding, and you have felt the warmth of the oven. These sensory signals are working together to ease you into a deeper state of repose. Gently, you step across the threshold and enter the heart of the feast, the triclinium, or the dining room of 3 couches. This space is designed entirely for relaxation and social ease. Allow your gaze to sweep softly over the room, not with the sharpness of scrutiny, but with the calmness of appreciation. The room's layout is the perfect expression of the Roman philosophy of comfort. 3 massive dining couches, lectus in circle, a low, square, central table. They are arranged in a U-shape, leaving ample space for slaves to move silently and serve the courses without disturbing the guests. Imagine approaching your assigned couch. It is meticulously draped, as described in Chapter 2, the Nile linen offering a clean, slightly cool touch. The angle of the lectus is set at a perfect incline, roughly 45 degrees. As you gently recline, your body feels almost weightless, as if being softly supported by a large warm palm. Your head is cushioned by a soft, goose-down pillow. Unlike the firm bolster required for daytime work, this pillow gently gives way to the contours of your head, providing exactly the right support for your neck. This semi-reclining posture is a complete liberation from the vertical stance of the day. It signals to your muscles and nerves that the moment for rest has arrived, and all fatigue brought on by gravity can now be released. The wall decorations also play their part in this tranquil scene. Lucius avoided overly vibrant or violently themed frescoes, opting instead for soft-hued murals depicting peaceful, pastoral scenes. They might show an olive grove kissed by sunlight, or a sailboat moving slowly across a calm Mediterranean sea. These images lack complex details that would require effort to decipher. They serve merely as a backdrop, offering a visually soothing resting place for your eyes. Your gaze can drift over them idly and then gently withdraw, like the soft ebb and flow of the tide. Closer to the central table, on the inner side of the couches, are the dinner settings for tonight. All vessels have been meticulously polished. You will not see strongly glinting gold tableware. Instead, the weight of the silver utensils and the refined pottery prevail. The silver reflects the subtle light of the oil lamps, taking on a subdued, matte luster that feels warm and substantial in the hand. On the low table before the couch, Flavia has placed small sprigs of fresh rosemary and a few forget-me. Not flowers, their fragrance blending perfectly with the faint, smoky scent of frankincense and lilac. Direct your attention now to an extremely small sound source in the center of the room. There is an elegant fountain, serving not just as decor but as part of the dinner ritual, a ceremonial washing of the hands before and during the meal. The water does not gush out but drips steadily and rhythmically from the mouth of a bronze sculpture into a shallow basin below. The sound is a gentle drip-drop, drop-drop, like the most precise, ancient metronome. This sound is the most stable anchor in the room. It sets a boundary for all external clamor. As you listen, you feel your heartbeat and breathing begin to synchronize with its pace. Reclining on the lectus, you feel your body utterly relaxed. You are enveloped by soft linen, supported by a downy pillow. All around you, the light is warm, the sights are peaceful, the scent is soothing, and the sound is rhythmic. The philosophy of the ancient Roman dinner is not about excess, but about balance, achieving inner peace through the perfect tranquility of the external environment. Semi-reclining, you feel safe, comfortable, and completely ready to receive the first portion of the evening's food, known as the gustatio. After the final silent wipe of the cutlery and the last check of the couch positions by the servants, the banquet reaches its most critical point, the arrival of the guests. Please follow the richly dressed party as they step onto the marble threshold. Your footsteps might echo briefly in the empty atrium, but they are soon drowned out by the host's welcome and the gentle murmur of the household staff. Lucius, the host, stands at the portico, his greeting warm and low-pitched, carrying a magic that instantly melts away tension. He refrains from discussing the day's business, using only a few refined, cordial phrases to draw you from the external world into this private, tranquil sanctuary. This welcome itself serves as a subtle induction into relaxation. The first action upon entering the villa is to completely shed the heavy formal robes, toga, that represented work and status during the day. Servants guide you to a softly lit chamber, where they offer you soft, lightweight dinner robes, vestus senatoria. These robes are often made of pale or brightly colored silk or linen. They are light as clouds, cool to the touch, and designed to put your body in a state of absolute comfort and freedom from restraint. Feel the silky fabric of the robe softly brush against your skin, as if whispering, "Let everything go, tonight belongs only to pleasure." This ritual of changing attire marks the transition from civil duty to pure enjoyment. Next is the final cleansing ritual before entering the dining hall, the washing of hands and feet. Young slaves approach with bowls of warm, aromatic water and soft towels. They gently wash away the dust accumulated from your journey. Then, lightly anoint your hands and ankles with rose or lavender oil. Close your eyes and feel the warm stream of water washing over every tired point in your feet. The sound of the flowing water possesses a hypnotically even rhythm. Subsequently, the warmth and fragrance of the oil penetrate through your skin to your nerve endings. The aroma is so utterly soothing. It is not merely for cleanliness, but for preemptive relaxation. Your body registers that it is being tenderly prepared for a long, carefree repose. You are now guided to your couch. As you recline and settle your body into the most comfortable angle, the servants commence one of the central rituals of the dinner, the blending and first tasting of the wine. In ancient Rome, wine was typically strong and not fully fermented. Therefore, it had to be mixed with water in a dedicated mixing bowl crater before consumption. Slaves carefully pour the wine into the bowl, Then add cold or preheated water, according to the ratio designated by the arbiter Bibendi. The addition of water is meant to tame the wild alcohol, making it gentle and long-lasting. A medium for pleasing the mind, not numbing the body. You hear the slight gurgle of water and wine as they intermingle in the earthenware bowl. A sound that carries a primal, satisfying rhythm. The air is filled with the rich aroma of fermented wine, mixed with a hint of damp earth and the fragrance of the vineyard. Then, the first glass of diluted wine is presented to you. This cup, cool and smooth, is the body's first promise of relaxation for the night. Take a gentle sip. Feel the slight acidity and sweetness of the liquid on your tongue and the warm trace it leaves as it slides down your throat. This wine is not intended for intoxication, but to open the heart, awaken the senses, and prepare for the delicacies to follow. In this gentle haze of aroma and subtle intoxication, your mind completely settles. The last hint of external light has faded, and the oil lamp's glow becomes more prominent and warmer. You now belong entirely to this night, to this moonlit feast that is about to unfold. With the completion of the libation and the hand-washing ritual, the atmosphere in the room has reached a state of perfect, balanced serenity. You are semi-reclined, the silver cup in your hand, radiating the gentle warmth of the mulsum. Immediately following this, the gustatio, the first part of the dinner, the appetizers, is brought to the central low table with the lightness and silence of morning mist. Allow your gaze to linger on these small, exquisite dishes. They are not intended to fill you, but to gently awaken your palate in the purest, simplest way possible. You watch as the slaves glide in, bearing silver trays that hold several items, contrasting yet harmoniously arranged. The first thing that catches your eye is the egg, a symbol of beginning and plenty. They have been perfectly boiled and carefully sliced lengthwise after shelling, revealing the full, warm pale gold of the yolk. The eggs are simply dusted with a pinch of fine salt from the Mediterranean, and some chopped herbs, perhaps chervil or dill. When you delicately pick up half an egg with your fingertips, the touch is smooth and slightly cool, while the yolk part retains a hint of warmth from the cooking process. You bring it to your mouth slowly, concentrating your entire focus on the action. The taste is pure and deeply reassuring, the creaminess of the yolk and the slight firmness of the white, gently underlined by the salt's savouriness and the cool essence of the herbs. This flavor is so clean and simple as it melts in your mouth. You feel no burden or harsh stimulation, only a grounded sense of being nourished by the earth and life itself. Next to the eggs are several deep, purplish, black olives. They originate from Lucius's estate in Campania, each one preserved in sea salt and olive oil, their surfaces shimmering with an oily sheen. Their shapes are not perfectly uniform, bearing the natural marks left by the wind and sun. As you bite down, the flesh of the olive releases a deep, slightly bitter aroma, which is immediately enveloped by the rich, fatty sensation of the fruit. The layering of this flavor is captivating, demanding that you slow your chewing pace to fully appreciate the ancient, intense Mediterranean taste. To counterbalance this richness, there is a small plate of fresh lettuce leaves. They have been meticulously washed, and cool droplets of water still cling to the leaves, sparkling faintly under the lamplight. This vegetable dish is simply dressed with a light sauce, a minimal amount of pure olive oil, mixed with a diluted savory brine. You pick up a single lettuce leaf with your fingertips, and the leaf makes a subtle, crisp rustling sound between your fingers. As you chew, this crispness is magnified in the surrounding quiet, like a small celebration of fresh life. The clean taste instantly neutralizes the complexity of the mulsum and olives, returning your senses to a state of purity. Everything proceeds slowly and leisurely. You have no need for knives or forks, as all food has been prepared in sizes that can be easily picked up by hand. This method of experiencing food with the fingertips anchors your attention to the present moment, keeping your mind from drifting to distant worries. You notice Lucius, too, savoring his portion with closed eyes, an expression of contented, almost lazy pleasure on his face. In this moment, everyone, like you, is focused on this slow, precise sensory experience. As you consume the last piece of lettuce, a thorough sense of ease ascends from your stomach and spreads throughout your body. You feel your abdomen is comfortable and slightly warm rather than heavy or bloated. The gustachio has perfectly fulfilled its purpose. It has awakened the palate, soothed the mind, and prepared your body for the richer, more complex flavors of the night to come. Everything is just beginning, and you are already in the most relaxed, most tranquil state possible. Following the tranquility of the gustachio appetizers, the room enters a brief, perfect pause. The slaves move silently once more, delicately clearing away the silver plates that held the eggs and olives. Their movements are so fluid and quiet that you barely register their presence. Only the faint tinkling of silver, like distant metal wind chimes, quickly fading. Before the main course arrives, a second bodily preparation is needed. Further cleansing and sensory transition. Servants approach again, this time offering a damp piece of cotton cloth infused with perfume. This perfume blends the crispness of lemon zest and mint, carrying the cool air of the Mediterranean. You gently press your hands onto the fabric, feeling the cool moisture, which is more penetrating than warm water. It instantly cleanses any residual grease or sweetness from your fingertips. This momentary coolness acts as a palate cleanser for your sense of touch, readying your sensory consciousness to receive a new, deeper symphony of flavors. Just as you are enjoying this refreshing sensation, a subtle yet profound shift occurs in the air quality. The light, herbal scents of rosemary and frankincense that previously enveloped the room begin to be slowly and assertively replaced by a different aroma, one that is warm, deep, and originating from a distance. This scent lacks the clear form of smoke. It is more like a promise, an essence refined by time and heat, slowly rising from the depths of the underground hearth. Close your eyes and focus on the journey of this fragrance. It first arrives at the room's entrance, where it briefly gathers, carrying the dry earthiness and warmth of the oven's fire. Then, like an invisible, warm breeze, it glides low along the marble floor, gently caressing your couch. This aroma carries the richness of melting meat fat, the dense, primal fragrance, characteristic of slow-roasted lamb shoulder or simmered wild boar. Embedded within this meaty aroma are complex herbal notes. These are not the fresh, dewy herbs, but the essence of those that have been dried, crushed, and bloomed in hot oil. The grounded, slightly peppery thyme, the earthy scent of oregano, and the indispensable, powerful note of rosemary. These flavors are not competing but perfectly layered. The base note is the deep meatiness and roasted sweetness. The middle note is the warm, slightly bitter herbs, and the high note is the sharp, stimulating edge provided by Eastern spices, perhaps a hint of black pepper and fennel. This scent is the harbinger of the main course, more persuasive than any announcement from a slave. It undulates continuously and rhythmically in the air, like an invisible, slow drumbeat, steadily increasing your appetite and anticipation. You don't need to open your eyes. Your body already knows the scale and richness of the forthcoming meal through your sense of smell. Your salivary glands begin to secrete slightly, the most honest physical reaction. Yet this anticipation is calm, devoid of any restlessness. To facilitate the gustatory transition, servers quietly bring small pieces of bread, panis, and a small bowl of light, green herb paste. This dip, perhaps made from fresh basil, walnuts, pine nuts, and a small amount of sheep cheese, is finely textured and refreshing, contrasting perfectly with the simplicity of the gustachio. You dip the bread into the paste, and the flavor bursts in your mouth like a crisp sound on a summer day. Its freshness and herbal sweetness instantly activate your tongue, ensuring your palate is at its most receptive state. Lucius smiles, acknowledging the success of the aroma and dip combination. He gently taps the edge of his couch with his finger, producing a low, rhythmic sound. This sound announces, "Welcome to the central act of the dinner, the prime mensi." Under the soft guidance of the fragrance, you have completely let down all defenses, like a child ready to receive a gift, dedicating your full attention to the main course, which is imbued with the warmth and bounty of ancient Rome. As the soft tapping sound of Lucius on the couch edge fades into the air, the star of the dinner finally makes its entrance. This is more than just food. It is a comprehensive symphony of sight, smell, and taste, a devout ode to the abundance of the Roman land. You gently open your eyes, first sensing the change in temperature. A warm current of air, carrying the residual heat of the hearth and the steam from the food itself. Softly brushes your cheek, providing a feeling of being meticulously cared for. Next, you see 4 tall slaves slowly entering the triclinium, carrying a large wooden tray inlaid with exquisite carvings. Their steps are synchronized and steady, ensuring the delicacies on the tray remain perfectly still. The tray is carefully placed on the central low table, mere inches from you. Focus your gaze on the main dish, a whole, slow-roasted lamb shoulder, meticulously arranged on a broad bed of bay leaves. The lamb's exterior boasts an alluring, deep golden brown sheen, the result of repeated basting with honey and olive oil, forming a perfect caramel layer under high heat. Under the lamplight, the edges of the skin slightly glisten, as if protecting a precious secret within. The aroma of this lamb shoulder is fully released at close range. It is no longer the distant promise from Chapter 7, but a real, rich, and vibrant fragrance. As you inhale, you can distinctly differentiate each layer of scent. First, the fullness and sweetness of the roasting meat fat, carrying a primal sense of satisfaction. Then, the spices ground into the meat, particularly the pungent warmth of garlic and cloves, stimulating your olfactory cells like an electric current. This aroma is so complex and complete that one deep breath fully opens your appetite, yet without any restlessness, only a pure craving for the delicious food. Surrounding the lamb shoulder are various side dishes, which collectively form this symphony of abundance. You see a platter of brightly colored mushroom stew, various wild mushrooms, perhaps sourced from the forests near Mount Vesuvius, slow, simmered in a rich broth and wine. The color of this dish is a warm reddish brown, and the mushrooms retain their full, round shapes, glistening moistly in the gravy. Their scent is low-pitched and reserved, carrying the damp earthiness and the subtle acidity of the wine, perfectly complementing the intensity of the roasted lamb. On the other side are some of the Romans' favorite accompaniments, stuffed vegetables. The servers bring half-cut zucchini or bell peppers that have been hollowed out and filled with a mixture of oats, cheese, herbs, and a small amount of minced meat, then baked again. The exteriors of these stuffed vegetables are slightly charred, while the fillings are soft and delicate. As you gently touch them with your fingers, they release the mild aroma of grains and the specific, slightly sweet and sour scent of baked cheese. These side dishes offer not only textural contrast, but also visual balance. Lucius signals that the pace of the dinner can slow down. Now is the time for enjoying the food and engaging in deeper conversation. A senior slave, holding a sharp silver knife and fork, begins to carve the roasted lamb shoulder in an almost artistic manner. As the blade cuts into the crispy outer skin, it makes a clear, satisfying crunching sound. Then the sound becomes muffled and smooth as it sinks into the tender internal meat. Each cut is accompanied by a burst of fresh steam and fragrance. When a small piece of succulent lamb is placed on the silver plate before you, your fingers instinctively reach out. The meat is incredibly tender, requiring almost no chewing. You bring this piece of lamb, with its caramelized crust and complex spiced filling, to your mouth, closing your eyes and allowing all your taste buds to be enveloped by the rich flavor. It is warm, sweet, slightly pungent, and simultaneously carries the primal, earthy flavor unique to lamb. The depth and layering of this taste make you feel as if you are savoring the entire Roman summer's sun and the bounty of its autumn harvest. You pick up a small silver spoon with your other hand and scoop up a portion of the mushroom stew. The mushrooms bounce on your tongue, and the richness of the gravy lingers in your mouth. Following this, you pair it with a bite of the stuffed vegetable. The mild baked grains and the sweetness of the cheese quickly neutralize the heaviness of the lamb. This experience of alternating and balancing flavors transforms your understanding of the meal from individual delicacies into a meticulously planned sensory journey full of balance and contrast. In this symphony of abundance, you feel every cell of your body being gently nourished. Your stomach is filled with a comfortable, full warmth, a warmth that feels like a soft blanket, enveloping your entire being. You listen to the low murmuring of the guests' conversations and the slight contact sound of silver spoons against plates. All these subtle sounds act as the background music to this lavish dinner, guiding you into a deeper state of peace. As the abundance of the main course is gradually digested, the atmosphere of the banquet enters a subtle phase of transition. The culinary revelry is over. Now is the moment when the enjoyment of the mind begins to take charge. Please withdraw your senses from the stimulation of taste and focus, instead on the shift in sound and ambiance. What you hear now is no longer the faint friction of servants moving heavy bronze platters, nor the sharp clash of silver knives on ceramic dishes. Instead, it is a low, constant, and profoundly intimate whispering. The guests on the couches are more relaxed. The distance between them dissolves, and the rhythm of conversation becomes slow and steady, as if the entire room is enveloped in a soft acoustic haze. In an ancient Roman convivium, the art of conversation is considered no less important than the dishes themselves. Lucius, the host, knows this well. He subtly guides the topics, ensuring the mood neither becomes overly somber nor descends into fierce argument. Initially, the discourse might retain some of the day's seriousness, touching on politics, business transactions, or military deployments. However, as the warmth of the wine begins to flow through the bloodstream, the conversation naturally drifts toward lighter, more philosophical territories. You might hear a guest softly reciting a few lines of Catulus's lyric poetry, or someone sharing a witty anecdote about Emperor Augustus. These exchanges are not meant to solve monumental world problems, but rather to please the mind and showcase erudition, while tactfully avoiding sensitive topics that could cause discomfort. Imagine the role of the arbiter bibendi, master of the drinking. At this point, he might have been chosen by the throw of dice. His duty is not to force drinks, but to control the flow and depth of the discussion. He may lightly tap the rim of his silver cup, producing a clear and gentle clink, and then pose a simple philosophical riddle or introduce a lighthearted discussion on Stoicism. This functions as a social game, inviting guests to respond in a contemplative yet humorous manner. This interweaving of whispers and light laughter forms a perfect kind of white noise around you. You no longer need to strain to catch every word. You simply allow the rhythm and cadence of these sounds to gently tap against your heart. They are the acoustic evidence of friendship, trust, and deep relaxation. At this moment, you observe the oil lamps casting a warm, golden halo on the guests' faces. Their expressions are utterly serene and satisfied, their eyes sparkling with a soft glow. A radiance born from the nourishment of wine and wisdom. You feel fully integrated into this small, protected social circle, with all external clamor sealed outside by the thick walls of the dining hall. The whisper of this conversation is the finest massage for the mind. It allows you to feel connected without carrying any burden of thought. Your consciousness, like a sponge soaked in warm water, becomes soft and porous, ready to absorb the final sweetness and tranquility. The table conversation flows into a more relaxed and lingering state, like a river that has entered a wide, calm bend after the rapids of the main course. But the structure of the dinner is rigorous and rhythmic. The host knows that the richness must be balanced by crisp refreshment. At this moment, you hear the servants initiating the second, more detailed, course clearing. Unlike the quick simplicity after the gustatio, this clearing is conducted with a ritualistic slowness and thoroughness. The main course platters have been quietly removed, and now the slaves are meticulously gathering all the silver dishes and utensils stained with gravy and the strong fragrance of spices. They use dry, soft linen cloths to gently brush off any remnants before placing them carefully into padded baskets, preventing any dissonant metallic sounds. Once all traces of the meat are cleared, the room's aroma undergoes another dramatic shift. The lingering scent of roasted meat and herbs is replaced by a new, pleasing freshness. This crispness doesn't appear abruptly. It originates from the large bronze bowls held by the servants, filled with water, infused with lemon and bay leaves. They perform the hand-washing ritual again, but this time the water is cool and translucent. You dip your fingertips into the water, and the sensation of icy coolness rushes over your skin like a clear spring. The bay leaves and rose petals floating in the water emit a fragrance of herbal sweetness that instantly cleanses your olfactory memory of the roast. As you gently brush off the water droplets, your skin feels a subtle, dry crispness, as if you've just stepped out of a fragrant greenhouse into a morning orchard. Lucius slightly adjusts his posture on the couch, announcing the next phase of the dinner with a simple Latin phrase, Secunde mensi. The phrase itself carries a sweet, lingering sound, foretelling the arrival of desserts and fruits. But before the sweetness, there is an interesting transition. Romans believed that after consuming heavy meat, the stomach must first be relieved with light food, preparing it for the influx of sugar and fruit. The most favored transitional food often comes from the sea. Servers once again present silver plates to you, this time holding small amounts of fresh oysters, nestled on chilled seaweed and crushed ice. The oyster shells shimmer with a pearlescent gleam under the lamplight, carefully shucked to expose the plump, brine-filled flesh inside. They are served without any complex sauces, accompanied only by a pinch of black pepper and a few drops of clear Libyan olive oil. You gently pick up an oyster and bring it to your mouth. The icy brine bursts on your tongue, delivering an intense, distinctly oceanic saltiness, along with the iron tang of minerals. This flavor presents the most extreme contrast to the main course. One was warm, deep, and earthy. The other is cold, clear, and marine. This taste of the sea acts like an awakening agent, instantly rousing your gustatory awareness from the heavy satisfaction of the meat, making you sharp again. As the oyster's saltiness fades from your palate, the servants follow up with a small portion of pickled vegetables, perhaps tender beets or small cucumbers, marinated in a mixture of honey, vinegar, and herbs. The acidity and sweetness of the pickles immediately neutralize the lingering saltiness of the oyster. This cycle of salty, sour, and sweet acts like a small, precise flavor dance, guiding your palate step by step toward the final, sweet climax. Once these seafood and pickled items are consumed, the room's scent is completely taken over by the fragrance of fresh fruit. This aroma is light and transparent, the earthy sweetness of figs, the fruity acidity released by gently squeezed grape skins, and the watery crispness of freshly sliced melon. This scent evokes a sun-drenched orchard rather than a steamy kitchen. It is a sweet and harmless signal, informing your mind that the work is done, and now only enjoyment and tranquility remain. You feel your body is completely relaxed, your mind clear and peaceful. As your eyes gently close, you imagine lying in a vineyard by the sea, listening to the gentle breath of the waves and smelling the aroma of ripe fruit. You have no worries. You only need to wait for the sweetness to arrive, waiting for your body to be fully supported by this refreshing sweetness, gently sliding toward deeper, darker sleep. As the servants silently clear away the bronze platters of the main course, a delightful and airy sense of anticipation gently arises. The symphony of abundance has concluded its crescendo. Now, it is time to welcome the refreshing and gentle coda. The heaviness in the air dissipates, replaced by an invigorating plant-based aroma, the scent of fresh fruits mingled with the warm sweetness emanating from heated honey. Please focus your awareness on the second tables. Before you, the secundae mensae. It is not constituted by a single main dish, but by a curated collection of small delights, intended to please the senses and cleanse the palate. These are served in light glass and colored earthenware vessels, offering a stark contrast to the heavy bronze of before. The first to catch your eye is the sweetest treat cherished by the ancient Romans, honey cake. These are not the fluffy cakes we know today, but rather pastries baked from coarse-grained flour and ricotta cheese. They are cut into diamond shapes, their surfaces generously covered with a thick layer of forest honey, which is just slightly warmer than body temperature, and boasts an amber, flowing sheen. As a servant places a small piece before you, you can watch the honey trickle down slowly and thickly. The texture of this cake is a combination of rough and delicate. The outer layer of flour carries a subtle toasted aroma, while the inner cheese provides richness and tenderness. As you bring it to your mouth, the warmth of the honey instantly melts, releasing a deep, earthy sweetness that is both comforting and reassuring. It contains no tartness or artificial stimulation, only the most fundamental bounty from the natural world. This sweetness is the body's final confirmation of abundance. Beside the cake are the eternal stars of the Roman table fruits. The colors and shapes of these fruits introduce a final touch of external vitality into the dining room. You can see bunches of purple grapes suspended from delicate vines, each berry plump and rounded, covered with a layer of cool white bloom on its skin. A servant gently detaches a cluster and places it within your reach. You feel the icy touch of the grape upon peeling it. The flesh is so clear and juicy, That refreshing blend of sweet and tart effectively washes away the richness of the previous meats and sauces, rejuvenating your palate. There are also figs, lauded as the food of the gods. They are carefully sliced in half, revealing the moist, rose petal, like flesh inside. They are so soft that they require virtually no chewing, carrying a unique, slightly nutty sweetness. Some figs may have been roasted, bearing a hint of caramelized edge and emitting a deeper, toasted fragrance. Following them are dates, brought along distant desert trade routes. Dates are concentrated sweetness. Their outer skin is somewhat dry, but the interior is like dense molasses. Ancient Romans believed that eating a date before sleep brought strength and sweet dreams. You feel that your stomach has been most gently soothed, and your mind has gained the purest relaxation. You no longer need to strive to digest complex flavors, only to enjoy this simple, ancient sweetness gifted by Mother Earth. This pleasure of fruit and honey serves as the perfect bridge to the drinking party. It has cleansed the senses, calmed the mind, and provided the most thorough preparation for the final tranquility that awaits you. As the fruits and desserts were cleared, the servants performed a final, comprehensive tidying of the table, signifying the conclusion of the formal part of the feast, the convivium. Now, the atmosphere shifts from satisfied gluttony to pure social ease and relaxation, entering the gentlest finale of the Roman night, the drinking party. Commissatio. This is the moment to fully connect the spirits of friends through diluted wine. You feel enveloped by a deep sense of serenity. Your body is reclining on soft cushions, every limb warm and heavy. Amidst the low approval of the guests, Lucius announces an important ritual. He will appoint the king of the feast, Arbiter Babendi. Instead of using dice, he confers the honor in a softer, more poetic manner upon the philosopher friend, whose words are best suited to bring peace and wisdom. The philosopher accepts the appointment with a tranquil demeanor. He is no longer the sage discussing the order of the cosmos, but the rhythm keeper of tonight's drinking. His first and most crucial decision is to determine the wine dilution ratio for the evening. He softly declares, "Tonight, for the longevity of friendship and the peace of the mind, we shall adhere to the ancient ratio of 3 parts water to 1 part wine." This ratio is a testament to Roman wisdom, ensuring that guests can maintain alert, pleasant conversation for a long period without descending into drunken chaos. Your gaze is drawn to the renewed setup on the central low table. Servants bring in a large bronze mixing bowl, crater, intricately carved with images of deities. You hear the crisp sound of warm water being poured into the bowl from a height, followed by the gurgling sound as the rich wine is added. Finally, a pinch of spices, perhaps a blend of cinnamon and saffron, is gently sprinkled in. A long silver stirring rod is used by a servant, moving slowly and rhythmically, to thoroughly combine the wine, water, and spices. Focus your hearing. The stirring sound is the clearest, most ritualistic noise in the room. The silver rod scrapes systematically against the inner side of the bronze bowl, producing a low frictional sound that is profoundly hypnotic. It seems to measure the flow of time, reminding you that all aggressive elements have been tamed and blended at this moment. The mixed, warm wine, carrying a subtle sweetness and a rich herbal aroma, is poured into small, delicate drinking cups, siathi. These cups are smaller than those previously used for water and ritual. Sized perfectly for a single sip, the king of the feast begins to lead the toasts. The first is always dedicated to the gods, perhaps to Mercury, the patron of banquets and sleep. Lucius raises his small cup, his tone solemn yet relaxed, Dies Immortalibus. To the immortal gods, the guests gently lift their cups, the rims lightly touching each other, producing a faint sound. This sound is not loud, it's like glass chimes in a soft breeze, sounding remarkably distant and pure in the quiet room. Next, the toasts turn to the host and his family, wishing them long life and health. Then, the guests begin to toast each other, or pay homage to absent friends they cherish. Each toast is accompanied by the soft, rhythmic clinking of glass or silver. This sound, a symbol of friendship and tranquility, repeats, forming a gentle echo that pulls your mind away from any distraction, anchoring you safely in this warm, secure moment. You feel the subtle warmth brought by the diluted wine. It is not the heat of pure alcohol, but a mild, comforting current that spreads from your abdomen to your limbs. Your eyelids grow heavier, and your thoughts become blurred and peripheral. The philosopher friend's voice continues. He might be sharing a Greek fable about dreams, but you no longer strive to understand every word. You simply allow his voice to become the texture of the background, like a soft blanket spread over your hearing. The night deepens. The oil lamp wicks have been adjusted lower by the servants, making the light dimmer and more intimate. The table conversations begin to include longer, more comfortable silences. You find that you no longer need to struggle to stay awake. The softness of the couch is inviting your body to fully subside. The final toast ritual is concluded. The king of the feast offers a last summary in his calm voice, his words a tribute to the evening's peace and fellowship. The guests, filled with satisfaction and serenity, begin to rise, their movements slow and dignified, never rushed. You hear their murmured thanks to Lucius as they depart, each expression of gratitude filled with sincere appreciation and the calm of the night. You remain, a part of the space. After the last guest has left, the room falls into an absolute, healed silence. The only sounds left are the extremely faint crackle of the oil lamp wick and the slow, deep rhythm of your own breathing. All the sounds, all the tastes, all the sensory inputs have made their perfect exit, leaving only your heavy body, wrapped in a warm blanket. You have entered a state of profound relaxation, waiting only for the final, absolute slumber to descend. The echo of the last guest's footsteps has faded into the end of the cobblestone path. In the room, the atmosphere of shared, collective relaxation now transforms into an absolute, private silence. Servants move like ghosts, performing final tidying in the corners. Yet their movements are almost soundless, as if they fear disturbing the sacred tranquility. You find yourself to be the sole survivor of this feast, reclining on the most comfortable couch. The room still holds layers of various scents, but they are no longer aggressive. The freshness of bay leaves, the sweet warmth of honey, and the mild aroma of diluted wine weave together into a warm and complex olfactory blanket. You inhale and exhale gently, each breath feeling like a taste of the night's essence. Now, your hearing is acutely amplified, not by external noise, but by internal rhythms. You hear the steady, slow beating of your own heart, emitting a low, thump, thump rhythm beneath the soft cushion. This regularity is the ultimate hypnosis. Your breathing becomes deep and elongated, a gentle rustle on the inhale, and a sigh of contentment on the exhale. These internal sounds are the body's declaration, all is well, and it is safe to rest. Lucius, your host, does not leave immediately. He stands by the couch, his silhouette stretched long by the flickering lamps. He says nothing, merely watching you quietly, then whispers something almost inaudible, a blessing, an ancient wish concerning travel and dreams. Gently and without intrusion, he places a silk blanket over you. The blanket's touch is initially cool and slick, but it is quickly warmed by your body's residual heat. The weight of the silk is so slight that you barely register its presence. Yet it effectively seals off any slight draft in the air, creating a fully enclosed, warm, and private microenvironment for you. In Roman mythology, Mercury, Hermes in Greek mythology, is the messenger of the gods. He governs not only commerce and travel, but also sleep and dreams. When a banquet concludes perfectly, the host silently prays to Mercury, asking him to guide the guest into a dream state filled with serenity and wisdom. At this moment, the silence is Mercury's sanctuary. You feel a strange sense of weightlessness. The softness of the couch is no longer support, but a flowing medium, and your body begins to slowly, effortlessly sink into it. Your consciousness starts to blur, yet it is not chaos, but a clear, voluntary surrender. You no longer need to control muscles, process information, or maintain any posture. Your vision is the last sense to fade. The final image you see is the faint orange halo emanating from the oil lamp in the corner of the room. The halo is unstable, swaying with the slightest movement in the air. It casts soft shadows on the walls, the edges of the shadows blurred and warm. You gaze at the light, watching how it slowly diffuses from a clear point into a hazy, drowsy color. The halo grows fainter and more distant. You feel your eyelids, like two heavy stones, slowly closing. In the moment before complete darkness descends, you seem to catch a fleeting image, the god Mercury stretching out his winged feet, gently approaching you. his gesture an invitation to step into the warm, silent garden of the night. You surrender yourself. The body is completely relaxed, breathing steady and deep. All sensory input in the room has fallen silent, leaving only the profound sense of satisfaction brought by the wine, the food, and the friendship. This sense of contentment, like a warm and dense cotton wool, completely envelops your mind. In the Roman villa, amidst the final interweaving of moonlight and lamplight, you are entering the domain of Mercury. Your dreams shall be tranquil and wise. The feast is over, but the peace has just begun. After the quiet departure of Lucius, the host, you are completely granted the right to rest. The only active life in the room belongs to the servants, who have been trained to be profoundly quiet. They make almost no sound, yet you can sense them performing a gentle and precise ritual of final tidying, as if engaging in a silent dance for tranquility. Please focus your awareness on the change in lighting. The first lights to be extinguished are the bronze candelabra high up on the room sides. The servants move along the walls with long extinguishing rods that have hooks. You cannot hear the sound of their soles on the floor. Only when the extinguisher nears the burning wick does it emit an extremely faint hisses sound, the final sigh of the flame as it is starved of oxygen. With the extinguishing of each candle, the room's brightness descends a noticeable level. The light is no longer orange but becomes a soft amber, and then a moonlit, bluish gray. This gradual dimming process is like a gentle visual desensitization, helping your eyes adjust to the complete darkness that is about to come. You close your eyes, perceiving the process solely through sound. You hear the soft gathering of pottery and silverware. They are not stacked or clanged together, but carefully placed into baskets lined with soft padding. Occasionally, the woven edge of a basket might make a tiny friction sound, which is brief and distant, like a passing cricket on a summer night. The most hypnotic sound comes from the servants cleaning around the couches. They use a damp sponge to lightly wipe the low-side tables previously used for dishes and wine cups. The trajectory of the sponge across the smooth wooden surface creates a subtle, moist, shush, shush sound. This sound is so rhythmic and gentle, it's like the final calming presence of a parent from your childhood, telling you that all clutter has been cleared and the world is now smooth, clean, and safe for sleep. You feel the final settling of the aromas. The intense scents of the main courses have completely vanished, leaving only a blend of flowers and clean wax residue. The servants may have sprinkled a few lavender petals or rose water on the floor. This pure botanical fragrance is the perfect guide for your entry into dreams. With every deep breath you take, you inhale freshness and peace. When the last servant completes their task, they perform a final silent salute. You do not even need to open your eyes to sense their departure from the room, taking with them all noise and residual energy of activity. Now, only one light source remains in the room. It is the oil lamp by your couch. Its glow is so weak that it is insufficient to cast a clear shadow. It is merely an isolated, warm focus. It floats in the deep ocean of darkness, providing you with one last, anchoring sense of security. Your consciousness has completely slowed, entering a state of hypnagogia, half dream, half wakefulness. Your thoughts are no longer sentences but flowing, non-meaningful colored shapes. You no longer struggle to stay awake. You are simply awaiting the final extinguishing. Finally, the hand holding the snuffing tool reappears. It makes no sound, simply placing the extinguisher gently and without hesitation over the wick. Puff, the room plunges into complete, absolute darkness. Visual sensory input is entirely cut off, leaving you with only the deep, boundless night. This darkness is not empty. It is full of texture, like the softest velvet. In the instant, the darkness descends. Your other senses instantly take over your awareness. You feel the warmth of the silk blanket, hear your own steady breathing, and smell the lingering lavender. This darkness is your final permission. It tells you that all duties are discharged, and all performances have concluded. Now, you have only one task: to sleep. Your body, thoroughly relaxed by the warmth of the feast and the wine, is irreversibly sinking deeper into the couch. Your mind, completely soothed by the gentle whispers and rhythmic sounds, is drifting toward tranquil dreams. Let the darkness be your sanctuary. It embraces you completely, without demands or judgment. The moment the oil lamp was extinguished, the world was gently cut into two segments. One, the banquet hall, now completely still and embraced by darkness. The other, the abyss of consciousness, where you are irrevocably sinking. The darkness you feel is no longer an emptiness, but a heavy presence with a power to soothe, wrapping you safely like warm soil. Your body, at this moment, has lost all sense of boundaries. You no longer feel which part is an arm and which is a leg. You are simply a warm, fluid existence, slowly diffusing and submerging into the depths of the couch. Each slow breath feels like a gentle float on a placid lake, rising slightly on the inhale and settling down on the exhale. This rhythmic, subtle undulation is the final flicker of wakefulness. You begin to enter the threshold of the dream realm, the domain governed by Morpheus, the god of sleep and dreams. Your thoughts are no longer controlled by logic, but transform into a series of random soft images. You might see yourself lying on a small sail, less boat, drifting on the calm Tiber River. The water in the night is a deep, inky green, and the olive trees and cypress trees on the banks salute you as solemn silhouettes. There is no fear, no anxiety, only a profound sense of peaceful acceptance. You understand that you have completed all the socializing, all the digesting, and all the thinking required of you for the night. Your body has received everything it needed: warmth, security, and contentment. All the senses have been perfectly tamed. They are now curled up like loyal pets at the edge of your consciousness, keeping watch over you. The faint residual warmth from the diluted wine of the Commissatio has now achieved its perfect purpose. It is not excitement, but sedation. It has completely relaxed all your nerve endings, clearing away all the tension accumulated during the day. You feel your muscle fibers unlatching one by one, starting from your toes and climbing upwards, until your forehead is completely smooth and unburdened. In the complete darkness, you begin to experience an auditory hallucination. Not noise, but a healing, low-frequency hum. It does not come from the room, but from deep within your own body, like a distant, sustained deep-sea moan. This hum seals away the last remaining intrusion from the external world, creating a completely private, soundproof cocoon of tranquility for you. Your final conscious thought is likely a simple notion of gratitude. Gratitude for the bountiful feast, for the warmth of fellowship, for the servants who provided comfort, and for the ancient Roman villa that served as your perfect shelter for rest. This thought is so simple, so pure, that it falls like a speck of dust onto the surface of a still lake, creating one gentle ripple before the lake of consciousness settles into absolute stillness. All sensations merge: warmth, darkness, silence, and peace. They are no longer separate elements, but form the single entity of your present state of being. You are no longer the guest of the feast. You are the tranquility itself. Your breaths are so slow, so regular, that they almost blend into the rhythm of the night. Every inhale is a gentle affirmation of life. Every exhale is a total release of the day's weariness, embraced by warm silk and ancient silence under the Roman moonlight. You have reached the harbor of peace. Sleep now, until the golden light of dawn kisses this magnificent villa once more.